You're listening to Project 35, a project that I'll be interviewing 35 women coming from different countries and backgrounds. So let's listen to their stories and cheer them on their own unique journey. And I hope you will enjoy it as much as I do. Hi, Tanvi. How are you doing today?
Hi, Tiffany. I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, thank you. And first of all, thank you so much for agreeing to be a part of my Project 35. So as being shared with you, Project 35 basically is inspired by me celebrating my 35th this year, and this is a great year for me where there's a lot of changes. I've made a lot of decision that completely out of my comfort zone, and I believe it's still a journey. And at the same time, I realized a lot of women around me, within and even beyond my circle, are also going through their challenge and their own journey. So that's the reason why I have you here today, because I would love to, hear more about you and your stories as well as your journeys. So first of all, would you like to, introduce a little bit about yourself?
Hi. Firstly, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Um, I think I don't think my journey is anything extraordinary, but I think that's what we women want to hear. Just stories that we can relate to and resonate with. So, I'm Tanvi. I know Tiffany for 7 years. I moved to Singapore 7 years ago, and she was pretty much my first friend in the office. And I'm originally from a city called India, a city called Calcutta in India. And I've been in Singapore for 7 years. I've been working at the same company for the last 9 years. And yeah, excited to chat today.
That is great. And you are with the same company for 9 years. So I'm sure there is a lot of memories. So what do you love the most about your job, your current job?
What I love about my current job is honestly the people. I've always admired the people that I work with. They're extremely sharp, smart, high EQ, very supportive, and also the kind of environment where it's okay to
Mm,
challenge and to be challenged. And I think that's where growth
mm,
comes from. Um, I, I, I think like hands down, like not the food, not the games, definitely the like some of the perks and the insurance, but
mm.
most importantly, like 90% of that is the people that I get to work with every day.
That is really great to hear. And is I feel the same things as well. Every time when when I'm applying for a new job, I'm not looking for a company cultures, but also exactly the kind of people, the kind of person we're gonna work with. And talk about people, I wanted to, shift a little bit gear here and talk about the people that are very close to you, which is your family. So first of all, it's gonna be your husband. I know you guys have been together for a really long time, and you guys just got married not too long as well. So how has marriage life been to you? And maybe you can share a little bit more stories about how did you guys know each other, and how has the journey been for you? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, we've known each other for 15 years. We've been dating for
Mm,
14, or we've been together for the last 14 years.
mm,
Um, when we met, we were both in high school,
mm,
um, and he had just gotten through college and he was moving to Singapore to come and study here at SMU. And then we did 7 years of long distance. God alone
mm,
knows how that worked out. Actually, it wasn't bad at all, if I'm honest. It was pretty smooth
mm,
sailing for us. We made sure that we met every 3 to 4 months, and
mm,
that just kept things very easy. And I don't think I ever met anyone I liked better than him. So that made things
mm.
even better. Um,
Good.
After that, I made sure that I moved here. So I was already working with one of the big tech companies. I
Mm,
came in for a rotation, did 3 months here. In during the rotation, I continued looking for roles here that would fit.
mm,
I found one, and I was able to move, and that kind of put an end to our long distance. So,
mm,
and about 3 years after that, we got married. So when we got engaged, we had finished 10 years of dating. So
mm.
we've been together for 14 years. That's our story, and a little bit more about us. I think. Every couple is unique and everyone has their own
Mm,
stories and they're all beautiful. The thing I like about the two of us is that because we met in school, we were
Mm.
friends first. I still call him by his last name. You know how guys call each other, like, hey, Mr. Roy or Roy or whatever. I still call him Singvi. I still call him by his last name, and it's just who we are. We're friends first, and I think we have pretty much always tried to be on the same page and grow in the same direction.
Mm.
I don't know if that's good or not, but it works for us. I think that organically it's happened. I don't think we've tried to do that. I think that we've almost always been on the same page about a lot of things, and we're going in the
Mm.
same directions, what we want in our lives in that moment. If we want to prioritize our
Mm.
careers in that moment, that's what we're both focusing on. If
Mm.
something else, and like, I think it makes it easier to have
Mm.
a buddy when you have these goals, and we all have goals.
Mm.
It's nice to
Mm.
have a buddy. So I don't think I was particularly fit. A lot of us in I actually, I won't blame India for it, but at least personally I didn't work out when I
Mm.
was younger. And
Mm.
I have brought him into this fitness journey, and we're doing it together, and that's
Mm.
fun. I don't think we're quite there yet, but we, yeah, we try to have similar goals, and we try to grow in the same direction.
Mm.
That works, I think. Um,
Mm.
and generally, we, we're quite affectionate, and we tell each other how we feel. I think that
Mm.
works.
I see. So what I hear here is the tips for, maintaining a healthy relationship here is, first of all, you start with healthy friendship. And then you also mentioned that you guys share similar goals, you do activities together, and be open in terms of how you feel about each other. Is there anything else that you think also one of the main reason that help you guys to, be together for such a long time in terms of maintaining? Because I'm sure there's time there is conflict arise, right? So in such times, how do you manage each other expectations and conflict? Yeah.
We're really honest with each other, and we're very
Mm,
empathetic, both of us. um,
mm,
and we try not to stay mad at each other for very long.
mm,
um, Recently he joked with a friend that we don't fight, but I mean, and like 2 days after that we had a fight, and that's fine. But we talked it out, and we actually didn't sleep. I think it took us till 3 a.m. to finish the conversation, but we didn't go to
mm,
bed angry. It's
mm,
the oldest advice I've heard in the book, but it works, it's true. And also understanding each other's pain points and the things that are hard nose for the other person. Like,
mm,
even white lies don't work for my partner. Like, he can't deal with it. It really bugs him. Even like, hey, I'm gonna be
mm,
here in 2 minutes, but actually I'm gonna be there in 20 minutes. Like, white lies don't work for him. In
mm,
general, one thing we've tried to maintain is that we respect each other.
mm,
Again, I think that it sounds very basic, but I get your point. Like, these stories aren't, they're about ordinary women and living their
mm,
lives. So I don't think there's anything extraordinary. We just, we're very careful about that.
mm,
We make sure that
mm,
respect kind of has all respect and trust, especially during the long term, uh,
mm,
like long distance piece. Respect, trust almost came before love. Um,
mm.
Respect, trust, friendship, love, in that order. And I think that worked. Again, I don't know. Not
I
sure.
love that. Yeah, I love that. And another things I wanted to, check with you as well, that we, you know, have just came out of, not say came out, but we are still, ongoing and still facing pandemic. And I've realized that, pandemic actually affects a lot of us, in terms of personally, in terms of professionally, and change the way we see about life, relationship, and everything else. So how does pandemic affects you over the last 2, 3 years? Yeah.
Um, I can talk about professional first and then personal.
Mm, mm,
Um, Professional, it made me value the place that I work at a lot. I
mm,
had
mm,
very supportive managers, co-workers, and all of
mm,
that. It definitely made me appreciate the place I'm in. I won't lie. I was made to feel like I'm going to be okay, and I appreciate that. I felt secure. That's a
mm,
safe and secure. That's very important. And but number two, the biggest thing for me was that I realized that very early on. I realized that I much prefer going to the office. I'm just one of those
Mm,
people. We did a survey and it was 50-50. Some people like being at home, some people like to be in the office. I just realized I'm one of those people who likes to be in the office. And I know that's very easy for me to say because I don't have children at this point. And I think that
mm,
would be a very different answer for parents. But for me personally, I loved the impromptu chats,
mm,
and being able to walk over and ask people for advice. And yeah, I enjoyed coming into that atmosphere. And I think I most of all, what I realize now that I'm coming to office, I actually miss commute. It's the oddest thing. I think on the way I spend time thinking about what I'm going to do and my priorities, and it helps me put that switch on. And then coming back, it kind of helps me decompress and ground myself and
mm,
forget and disconnect, forget work. I think those boundaries blurred when I was at home, and that was challenging.
mm,
I would take a long lunch break, but then I would work till late. And
mm,
I mean, I personally didn't like that. I feel like this is so much better for me personally. Um, I come in at about 9. I try to leave by the last shuttle, like 6:40, 6:45, and it works for me. Um, yeah, and that's professional. Um, a lot of this spills over, right? Like to how I was
mm,
feeling. Like, if I felt like boundaries were blurred, and I felt like um, a lot of that spilled over to how I was feeling personally.
mm,
But personally, I think it got me oddly, especially 2020, got me closer to my family because
mm,
we were suddenly doing a lot of Zoom calls and it was quality conversation and not just hi, hello, and like a 5 minute daily chat, but I think it made me realize I missed them a lot. It definitely reminded
mm,
me that I'm quite family oriented. I don't think that I'd ever
mm,
acknowledged that or really knew that.
mm,
It made me miss home a lot. And like a large part of why I'm in Singapore and not somewhere else is because it's 4 hours away from my hometown and my husband's hometown. Like we're both from Calcutta. So it's a 4 hour flight. And just to not be able to see our parents or anyone from our friends, so many of our friends live in India, and not to see them for 2 years, that was really hard. Um, what was good though was that I think it got me into being fitter and learning more about nutrition and working out. And I prioritized my mental and physical health. I took 10 when I was missing home a lot and I was quite upset. I think I was anxious and upset, and especially during like wave two in India when family got COVID. I remember
mm,
reaching out to a therapist and I did like 7 to 8 classes with sessions with her, sorry, and that was really helpful. So I really prioritized mental health. I hadn't done that before. In terms of physical health, I started working out with a trainer. I started taking classes. I also signed up for different programs like 3 month program, 15-day programs to learn more about nutrition and just generally get healthy. I
mm.
majority of that time I ate vegan and gluten free as much as possible. So
That's good.
yeah, it opened me up to that, and I don't think I'd given it that bandwidth, like given it that mind and space.
I see, I see. So on the personal side, what I've heard is that it's made you feel closer to your families, that you started to realize that you are a very family oriented person. You also invest a lot more time on your physical health. You went to see therapists. And I also know that you actually practice meditations, right?
Yeah.
Mm,
I got introduced to meditation when I was 20 through a very specific program.
mm,
And I'm I think that I'm like really glad that I did, and I learned a lot of things about just life and how to handle
mm,
situations, um, and that was super helpful. I think it carried me through like start meditating very early on in life carried me through, and I think made me very resilient
mm,
and focused. After moving to Singapore, I feel like I lost that. And
mm,
during the pandemic, I almost reconnected with meditation, and that was good. I think I can see that I'm resilient again. I'm focused again,
mm,
and um, I am the kind of person who needs a lot of me time, and I've been
mm,
prioritizing that. And like spending time with myself and really deliberating. Um, in the middle, I remember there was a time where I wasn't doing that and I was very unhappy. So all I really needed was just like time to myself. And yeah.
I see, I see. So when it comes to meditations, I can see that it benefits you a lot in the way that it's helped you to have more me time, you feel more grounding, more reconnected with yourself. So what would be your advice, especially for people who are very new to meditations? Would you recommend them to start first with guided meditation, or is any other practice that you think might be easier for them to get to know and ease into meditation?
Yeah, I think 100%. I had to reteach myself as well. Um, when I used to meditate when I was 20, I used to do these 45-minute, 1 hour meditations, and then I think I
Mm,
lost that. So even I started again with just like
mm.
the Calm app and 15 minutes of meditation,
Mm,
or taking a yoga class, which I feel like is the equivalent of meditation. And something else that um, I heard recently from someone very knowledgeable was, um, even if you don't think that you are ready for it, think about doing something which is very meditative, like, you know,
mm,
when you're at the gym, cut off all your thoughts and give it your 100%, and it's almost meditative. Even if you're cooking, you're chopping vegetables, do it with concentration without any other
mm,
distractions, and that could be meditative. It's about shifting your mind from doing mode to just being mode, and that's where magic happens. Like good thoughts come to you, you get ideas
mm,
to, and that's why we have like thoughts during our shower, right, as well, because you're just being like, and that's so
mm,
common. And so if you can find moments of going from doing to being, which could be anything, and it's different for everyone. It could be a dance class, it could be literally cooking, it could be anything really mundane actually. um,
mm,
but without any distractions could also be quite therapeutic. I feel like for me that's cleaning out my closet on Sundays. I just switch everything else off. I do that for an hour. I also find
mm,
that quite um,
mm.
it's a mundane task, but you're not thinking about anything else. You're just being.
I really love that. So here is the tips is, focus, and if you don't know where to start, can start first doing something that mundane, right? Even like you mentioned, clearing your closet, cooking, or even when we are in the gym. And I hear this kind of, phrases that a lot of time instead of focus on being a human being, we becomes human doing in this modern society. And what you have mentioned is just so true. And I really, really love that. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. And talking about that as well, the I know that besides your husband and in your family, you're also very close with your mom, and I know that she have a great impact on you, the way that you think, the way that you carry yourself in life. And would you like to share a little bit more about her as well?
Yeah, for sure. My mom is absolutely amazing. She's like, and I know everyone
Mm,
feels like that about their parents. Um, I was only 10 years old and my brother was 4 when we lost my dad, and it was really tough on her. And I don't think that she was used to doing so much or just being that responsible. It was a huge amount of responsibility on her shoulders, and she was only 35. Imagine she's like 2 years older than I am, same age as you. Like, how it's just,
mm,
I mean, you're another amazing, strong woman. Also, I've always admired that about you, and you've reminded me of her in a lot of ways. Um, and I've always told you Rachel would be close to you because of that. Like, right? Like, we admire our moms who've shown us that, right? And so she's just, and she took, I think, yeah, it took her some time. It took her a couple of years, definitely, but eventually I feel like I saw her reemerge. And but even when she was lost, right after my dad's passing, she, like, we were her number one priority, and she just
mm,
made things work. She was just like, what I appreciate about her was, firstly, I think I've learned a lot about um, the society we live in and how patriarchal it is, and to call that out. I learned about independence from her. She's fiercely independent. I know that she had to be, but then she
mm,
taught and instilled those values in me as well. So I think I was raised to be fiercely independent. Not many people my age were
mm,
taking public transport, public buses. In India, I think it wasn't that common. Like, at least
mm,
in my school, I don't think I saw many people. Not maybe like 20% of us were actually taking public transport, for example. And she was fine with me doing it alone. And she's just super, super strong, independent. Always taught me the importance of being financially independent no matter what situations. And I learned that the hard way, and we all learned that the hard way, right?
Mm,
My dad was an amazing person, but we lost him. And then we had to pick up the pieces and restart. And my mom became a teacher. She had to start a completely new job and all of that. So I think it's deeply instilled in me to always be extremely financially independent. Like, I don't want to ever be dependent on anybody else for that. Um, and I think the other thing that I've always really appreciated about her is she's extremely modern in her thinking. She's
mm,
not traditional and conservative. Um, she's a feminist. Actually,
mm,
really, the real word is that she's been a feminist before we even started using the term that broadly. Honestly, we've always used it, but yeah, I mean, she's a true feminist, and she's always called out how patriarchal the Indian society is, and taught me about that as well. Um,
mm,
and she has tried to raise my brother like um, an equal partner, and to not and like, of course, like, my brother was raised by, I think, my mom and partly by me, so he has those values as
mm,
well. He knows how to, I think, respect women and share the load and all of that. So um, outside of that, she's just like extremely positive. I think she's had to be. She forced it. I don't think she was naturally a very optimistic person, but
mm,
I mean, she really just went all in with all of those books, like Wayne Dyer books, and like, name it, any, like, Power of Positivity, Secret, all of that. And she became optimistic, and she became that. And then she's always my biggest cheerleader, and
mm,
she's very spiritual. um, so I appreciate that. And I think lately as well, even she's been on her own journey to become healthier. So she's super encouraging
mm,
about it. I think that what I like about her most is that she adapts with times. She doesn't get stuck, and she's always ready to grow and change. And I think my brother
mm.
and I have learned that from her. She has a growth mindset, and I think that's why we do too. Um, yeah, so lots. I could go on.
Yes. Oh my gosh, is she sounds like a superwoman to me, and I see a lot of her quality in you, especially when we got to know each other when I joined the same company as you. You became my mentor, and I've learned so much from you. Being confident, going all out, going after your dreams, and even as such an independent woman, I feel that sometimes as a woman we having a lot of moments where we started to doubt ourselves, like we think that we are not good enough, we are not strong enough, we are not ambitious enough. um is there such a moment that these kind of thoughts happen to you, and if it does, right, how did you manage to manage it?
All the time,
Mm.
every other day. It's so sad. I love that you said I'm confident. And that's the thing. We had this
Mm.
I'll give you an example. A few days ago we had an offsite, and on
Mm.
the back of our shirts was like this piece of paper, and people had to write
Mm.
what they admire about you. And you weren't supposed
Mm.
to see it right until the end of the session. And five people, and it was a room of 12, five people wrote that they think I'm extremely confident. I'm not. And I think it's just relative. Depends on the room, depends on the room that I'm in. um, I I definitely struggle with it. I think
Mm.
I have to work on it. I have to be very intentional. um, I can't uh, I can't switch to default because my default isn't confident, unfortunately. So I have to
Mm.
work on it, you know. Um,
Mm.
I think that's the one thing sometimes that's holding me back. I honestly think that if I just a lot of times, you see people and you're like, oh, if that person communicated better, they'd be so good at what they do.
Mm.
And so many times I feel like if I was just more confident, I'd be so much better than what I and confident also comes with, and maybe I'm confident in the way that I'm speaking right now, or
Mm.
in an interaction. But I think confidence also includes courage, right? And I don't think that I sometimes don't dream big enough dreams for myself, because
Mm,
I don't think that and that's the bad thing. That's what I need to work on. I need to dream big and work towards it and make it happen.
mm,
Um, yeah, that kind of confidence, like real courage also. I would love
mm,
to work on a lot more. I am trying to use sort of the crutches of visualization and
mm,
affirmations, because I think that then I because those dreams are there, but I don't think that I believe that I can get there. So I
mm,
use that to help myself. I feel like it's a good tool for me personally. um, it may not work for everyone, and I don't think everyone believes in it, but I yeah, I think like vision boarding, and doing affirmations, things like that help me. I don't think it's for
mm,
everybody, I get that, but I
mm,
think it helped me.
I see, I see. I love that. And being your friends and being the person in the conversation right now with you, what I see here is, a very strong, independent, confident woman. And that is what happened. A lot of time we realize that people see a lot more things in us rather than we see in ourselves. And I believe that it's going to be a journey. I don't think it's going to just happen in a day or two. I believe it's going to be a journey. And whichever happens along the way, the only wish that I wish for you and also all of the women out there and also for myself is that we love ourselves more and we appreciate what we have. And thank you so much for sharing with me and all of the audience today who listened to this conversation. And before I let you go, is there any one very last thing, last message that you would like to share with all of us?
Um, yeah, thank you so much for having me. I really
Mm,
almost like I 100% don't believe I deserve to be talking about my life, but thank you. I appreciate it. Um, be to be financially independent, and
mm,
to get out of your comfort zone and take risks. Because what if it all works out? And even if it doesn't, at least it's better than being in the same place the same time last year. Like, yeah, that's what I tell myself. So it's the same thing for you guys.